Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This will be the spoiler review. I have a review on my blog, soundedbettermyhead.com. Try to keep all the spoilers out of there. Try not to get too many gameplay spoilers even. I played the PS5 version of this, and I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a pretty good game, really good Star Wars game, a good follow-up to Fallen Order, which was a great game. It had its flaws. Some of them were related to technical difficulties, which unfortunately, it's they screwed up. I mean, it's something they should have taken care of before the game was launched. And I even got this game, weeks, maybe even months after it was released. It gave them plenty of time for some patches, and there were some pretty significant issues that I'll get to later. Story-wise, it was solid. There was some really good twists overall. It was really hard to tell much from the trailers, except that you come across a Jedi that's apparently been suspended in a Bacta tank since the High Republic era, and he's a bad guy now, and you don't know much else going in. But the gist of this game is you stumble on the fact that there is a secret planet called Tanalorr that's hidden in this abyss that nobody's been able to get through. It's basically some type of nebula. But come to find out, this Jedi 200 years ago found out how to get into there, and now basically everyone's trying to get this compass that will get them into this nebula because it's like a safe haven. Cal and his friends want to get away from the Empire. Unfortunately, this Jedi Dagon is kind of deranged now. He wants to get an army to not only fight the Empire but basically conquer the galaxy. I don't think he realizes he's on the verge of becoming a Sith, basically. And like I said, there's a lot of back and forth trying to get the compass. It's pretty straightforward at that point. You fight the boss like 3 different times. Just about similar to the last game. And then the big twist, which was not super unexpected, but that your new buddy Bode, your new teammate, is actually a mole, a double agent, betrays you. You try to track him down, and it turns out he's also a former Jedi. And he's not a bad guy, but he's willing to go do anything it takes to protect his daughter, which leads again everybody trying to get to Tanalorr and the big confrontation, and Cal really basically embracing the dark side to get through this. I mean, the game literally tells you that press these 2 buttons and embrace the dark side, and you don't have a choice. And it's a little ambiguous at the end exactly where they go from here and what Cal's mental state is, if he's really pulled himself back from the dark side. And I think that kind of knocked the game down for me a little bit. I just felt like the ending was just a little too vague, and like, where do we go from here? I just didn't feel like there was a strong enough resolution to everything that happened. Bode was not a bad guy, and you were forced to kill him. And like I said, he was more redeemable than like Trilla, and Trilla was almost redeemed until she died in the last game. But I don't know. Anyways, it's a decent story. When Seer ends up dying, I thought it was really well acted by the voice acting and really well done by the animation to really sell how devastated Cal was. I thought the really sad scene in the game, and there were some other good emotional beats throughout the storyline. I wasn't a fan of the fact that you're fighting Vader and you're going in, and the odds are Seer, you got to play as Seer at this point. Again, this is spoilers. Odds are you're not you can't kill Vader. You just know storyline wise he's got to survive because this takes place before the original Star Wars. So it was a hard fight. I died a lot, and when you finally win the fight, Vader kills you anyway. So it's kind of shitty that you have to fight this long fight and try to keep from dying just so you can get to the storyline point where you die anyway. So that was a bit of a annoyance. I mean, because I kind of saw it coming, but still. Gameplay wise, very similar to the last game. If you didn't play the last game and you jump into this one, they drop a lot on you, because in the first game, Cal had to kind of build up his repertoire, and he gave moves and lightsaber stuff, lightsaber stances, and the double-bladed lightsaber. This game you start off with that stuff, so you immediately got a lot to learn. You got to learn how to do the regular lightsaber and the lightsaber and the double bladed, and your double jumps and different force abilities. So it's a lot to take in if you haven't played. And even me, I haven't played the game in years, so trying to get back to that was a lot. And then you start adding new force abilities, and you got your perks, and you level stuff up. and there was a lot. I really liked. You end up with 5 different stances, they call it. You could have 2 stances on default at any given time, so you could switch between one or the other during combat. Just your basic, you got a lightsaber, which is fine. You got the double bladed, which is cool. You want to go Darth Maul on everybody. That's a fun one. The dual wielding, where you got 2 lightsabers, one in each hand. I never had as much fun with that one. They add the blaster stance, which was my favorite, where you got a lightsaber in one hand and the blaster in the other. It's not very Jedi, but it's easier to take out enemies from a distance when you can shoot them. Maybe you're a little more Indiana Jones there. If anything, it reminds me more of Luke in the earlier, like Empire Strikes Back era Luke, where he's just as quick to pull out a blaster as he was a lightsaber. And then you unlock a final stance with a crossguard lightsaber, where it's a 2-handed sword basically, and it's heavier and stronger. I know people try to say lightsabers are weightless, and it shouldn't make it matter that it's got a bigger blade, but whatever. It works fine for the gameplay. That was my second favorite stance. It's like if I couldn't use a blaster, then I want to use a lightsaber that did some serious damage, especially in a boss fight. Some pretty cool force abilities otherwise. You got your little grapple hook, which is, can't use it anywhere, but it's got its uses. You got your wall run, you got the wall jump now. The customization is pretty cool. Like you find all these outfits and lightsaber parts and BD1 parts, and you could mix and match them. You could change the color on some of them, and the materials, and you could change Cal's hair and his beard and make him look like a lot of different ways. So you pretty much feel more like even though you're given this character, you get to take a lot more control over him, which is nice. And it's funny when if you happen to watch anybody else playing the game online or photos, you get confused because what is this? But they customize Cal their way, and it's like, oh yeah, that's their version of Cal. The game looks great. Koboh is just a massive planet. There's so much exploration there, and there's like settlements and people, and they're still a little weak on the NPC side. Like you can only really interact with a few of them. Even then, most of them don't really add much to the game. But it feels more like alive, and there's people and there's raiders everywhere and battle droids, and you just feel like you're like on a real planet in the Star Wars universe. It's really cool. You get to go to Jeddah from Rogue One. You get to go to Coruscant, which has been around. You only get just to see a small section of it, and you get a couple new planets. Felt like most of the planets kind of got shortchanged. Like Jeddah's the only one that's kind of halfway big, and there's not much there besides like deserts and like ruins. So it's like you don't go to like Jeddah, the city, like you do in Rogue One. So it's okay. But like I said, most of the actions on Koboh. Exploration, obviously you get rewarded with a lot of cosmetics, but those things that increase your force meter, things that increase your life meter, more stints. It's definitely worth it to explore. You gotta temper your desire to explore with the fact that you just can't get everywhere early on. You haven't unlocked abilities, you haven't unlocked equipment. So the more you explore, the more you end up having to go back and explore again, because you don't, now you get the stuff that you need. And even then, you're going to miss a scan that BD does. You're going to miss something. It kind of gets to the point you're just going to wait. As you go through the game, there's a point where different consoles will give you things to your map that you can see. Like, you're looking for the seed pots. There's a thing that downloads them all to your map. So instead of searching for seeds, it tells you where they're at, and you can just go get them. Or data bank entries, or unfound chest, or force increases to your force meter, or skill points, whatever. Cal updates. Like you got to find a happy medium, in my opinion, of not searching everything too much, like just enough to kind of feel like you did it on your own, but then you don't want to have to crunch too much of the map. It's a fine line, depending on your gameplay style. And then even after you beat the game, it's a little annoying because there are new force echoes that get added, and they are not on your map. You really kind of got to stumble on them for the most part, and they're spread out on different planets. They're not necessary, but they kind of fill in some of Bode's backstory, and there's a couple other odds and ends. It's kind of like if you're going to put something after the game, put a little bit more than that, but otherwise it's not much to add to the post game. Thought the Darth Vader fight, like I said, was tough. The rest of the boss fights weren't that hard. You do have the force tears, which are challenges. The Group combat isn't too bad where you're fighting a bunch of droids or whatever. The boss ones were ridiculously hard. You got the one where you got to fight 2 rankers at once. You got the, I don't remember the name of it, the frog thing from the first game, and now there's a new one in this game that's tough. And then you got to fight 2 of them at once, which is, it's a pain in the ass, but it's not as hard as it seems. Problem with them and the rankers, they both got a move that kills you instantly, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you automatically die if they catch you. And then you also have a boss fight where you got to fight 3 of the hardest mini bosses at the same time. And it's pretty tough, and it's really frustrating, especially even on the default setting of Jedi Knight. Then there's also obstacle courses that involve using like wall jumps or your dash through like a force field and double jumps and using grapple lines, and they're really really hard. And most of the game you can change your difficulty setting at any time, but the difficulty doesn't really change the jumping and all that stuff. So those are still going to stay hard, but as hard as they are, you can complete them. When you go back to the regular gameplay, and some of these same obstacles show up later on, but not as hard, like it's a piece of cake. Like, oh, do you need to jump through this, jump off the wall, go through this force field, and do this other jump? Nothing. I've done that, way harder version in the Force Tear. But like I said, some of those fights, like the ranker fights, like whoever put together was just a jerk. Like, just throw 2 of the hardest bosses in there. Don't take into account that it's almost it's not. It's designed to be unfair. You're fighting one, and the other one does a unblockable instant kill move from across the room that you don't even see coming. And there's also this Hall of Tactics thing you can play, which is cool. You spend points, you pick like stormtroopers or whatever you want to fight against the computers lineup. And even that, like I picked the lineup, won no problem. Then I used the same lineup against their same lineup, and all of a sudden I got like my ass handed to me. Like it's kind of, there's luck involved too. Like it's not all just skillfully picking the right characters, because sometimes you guys just get their ass handed to them. But I guess that's the gist of it. I think I covered most of it. Like I said, the acting. I said earlier, the acting is really good, and the animation is really good on it. I think most of the NPCs is a lot weaker. It's just more generic video game voices, and like just generic accents. Like, oh, I'm gonna do an Australian accent. And it's like the Star Wars alien talking like he just got back from Sydney, and it kind of takes you out of a little bit. Or you got the African accent from some other alien lady. It's like I just feel like someone threw on a Star Wars mask and was doing a funny accent from Germany or something just for the hell of it. I thought that was kind of took the NPCs down another peg. But the big issue I wanted to get to are the technical ones. Now, from what I understand, when the game launched, there was a lot of problems, especially with the PC version. I mean, really bad problems from what I hear. I've gotten the game for PS5, and there was a lot of patches already. And there was a couple glitches, like you'd go to fast travel and the game would crash. I think I had the game crash maybe 2 or 3 times at the most, which is not that bad for the amount of hours I spent. I had one weird one where I went to do something, and for some reason BD1 was gone. He wasn't aware, it wasn't there. I couldn't open up chests, I couldn't do anything. And I think I had to end the game and then restart it, and he was back. So it wasn't a hard fix, but it was like trying to get stuff done, and I couldn't do it. But the absolute biggest headache, and the thing that almost, I don't want to say ruined the game for me, but killed my gaming experience, is there's a side quest involving bounty hunters where you gotta talk to this woman, she'll give you a bounty, and you go track down the bounty hunter and take him out. And I don't know how many there are, like over a dozen, I think. And from what I've seen online, and from a spoiler, I didn't even get this far. It looks like Boba Fett's involved somewhere in this at some point, which would be pretty cool. But I can't do the quest. There's a glitch that's keeping a lot of people from either starting the quest altogether, or they get so many bounties in and it just stops and won't let them take any more. And the girl that's supposed to give you the quest just stops giving you the quest dialogue. She just gives you either nothing or generic dialogue. And I said, I can't even start the bounty hunter quest. I can't. It looked like it would be fun. I'm trying to get the complete game. I can't do it. Apparently, the developers have known for at least a month that this bug exists. Supposedly, they're getting ready to release a fix, but it said it kind of sucked. I'm trying to finish this game, and it looked like a fun part of the game. This rumor thing keeps popping up on my map to go talk to this lady, and I can't do it. And while she does sell some cosmetics, she has useful stuff. There's new blaster, new things for your blaster, and it's like stuff that would help you in combat. Like I would have liked to gone in to the final boss fight, maxed out with all the good shit, but I can't even get these blasters because the game's bugged. Then there was a rumor you could just do the new game plus and do it, but apparently it's bugged there too. Like the only chance you got right now is to restart it and hope that you don't get the bug the second playthrough. But I don't want to do that. And I also don't want to linger on this game too long, waiting on this fix. And I'm already at my prime right now. Like I'm at the best I'm going to be at this game, pretty much. I want to take on these bounty hunters. I don't want to play months from now and be rusty and have to try to learn all my skills again and be frustrated that I can't fight. And like I said, that really hurt the replay value of the game, if anything, if you want to, call it that. But that's my gripe. Who knows? Maybe I'll do some kind of mini update if they do fix that bug. I don't know how much it would really change my opinion of the game. Maybe I'll come back and say the bounty hunter thing was the greatest thing, or maybe I'll come back and say it was not even worth it anyways. But that's about it. Like I said, I got the non-spoiler version of this up. That's on my blog. And I also got some other reviews on there, movie reviews, TV reviews. I got my comic strip. That's all at soundedbettermyhead.com. So thanks for watching.